Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining me live every evening at this time. Today, we have a gentleman with us who I can't possibly describe in a few words. He's an investor, a mentor, public spirited individual, a brilliant orator, a philanthropist, and much more. It would be best to describe him as a visionary who can predict in which direction India is going. Mohandas Pai. If you were to talk about what he has done and is doing, it will take us many such sessions to give him full justice. While most of you know or have heard of him, let me give you a brief introduction about him before we ask him to join us live. Over a career spanning 37 years, Mohandas Pai has served in the areas of finance, accounting, information technology, human resources, education, corporate governance, social impact innovation, environmental conservation, policy formulation, heritage preservation, philanthropy, and the venture and startup ecosystem. He is currently the chairman of Aryan Capital, chairman of Manipal Global Education, member of the boards of Havells India and the Institute of Public Enterprises, member of the Board of Governors of the National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, NIIF, governing council member of the Center for Advanced Financial Research and Learning, CAFRAL, promoted by the Reserve Bank of India, chairman of the Regulatory and Financial Technology Committee of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, chairman of the SEBI Primary Markets Advisory Committee, PMAC, and investment committee member of 314 Capital. He is also the founder trustee of the Akshaya Patra Foundation. He was awarded the Padma Shri Award by the President of India in 2015 and the Karnataka Rajyotsava Award in 2008. He holds a bachelor's degree in commerce as a university rank holder from St. Joseph's College of Commerce, Bangalore, a bachelor's degree in law from Bangalore University, and is a fellow member of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India as an All India rank holder. He is based in Bangalore, India. Welcome to our channel, sir.
Thank you very much, Meena. Thank you. Good to be with you.
Welcome,
Thank you
welcome, sir.
Good to be with you. Yeah. Good to be with you.
Thank you so much. Also, sir, if time permits after the session, if viewers could ask a few questions, is that okay?
Sure. I got time. No issues.
Yeah. Thank you. Sir, your journey has been a long and very successful one. Could you tell us a bit about your background and where you come from? You're very proud of your language and from where you come. Could you tell us a bit about
Well, I was born in Bangalore a fair time ago. My mother is a school teacher. She's 89 years old. My father worked in a company, and we were quite relatively well off. Compared with ordinary middle class family.
Yes.
I was educated in Bangalore, did well in school, went to college, got a university rank, played cricket for my college, played for the club, etc. Then I did my law degree and my chartered accountancy. Then I started practice as a chartered accountant because I was a rebel. And as a rebel,
I've read about that.
I didn't want to work for anybody. I wanted to be independent. I didn't want to work for anybody. Because remember, those days when I graduated in 1982, India was a very different place. There were family-dominated companies. There was nepotism, etc.
Yes.
And you must remember that when we came out into the workforce, India was almost a failed country. India was opening up in about 1980, but we have not seen any benefit. Because, Meena, when India got freedom, India was the largest economy in Asia. Japan was destroyed. China had the civil war. Mao had taken over. India had come out of the war effort with 1.6 billion pounds owed by Great Britain. And India was in good shape. But Jawaharlal Nehru systematically destroyed the economy by his bad policies focusing on the public sector. Nothing wrong, except that he suppressed the private sector. He shouldn't have suppressed the private sector. But between 1950 and 1980, India grew only at 3.5% a year. And population grew at 2.5%. When Mao came to power in China in 1949, I think, if I'm right, he made a statement, women hold up half of heaven. He started educating China's women. So literacy went up, population came down, even though in 1978 they had the one-child policy. Nehru did not focus on primary education, primary health, and as a result, population went up, and he suppressed private capital. And he had this grand notion that the world respects him, forgetting the world respects a rich country, never a poor country who pontificates. But whatever it is, his policies did not work. So population grew at 2.5%, India grew at 3.5%, the world grew at 4.5%. Japan grew up, Asia, that is Southeast Asia, grew up, Germany grew up, the world grew richer, India grew poorer. But in 1950 to 1980, we started opening up. Of course, Indira Gandhi, I think, got assassinated in 1984. Rajiv Gandhi came. I mean, later he did well, but he was stuck up in the politics in his own party. But in 1980 to 1991, India grew at 5.5% because we opened up. And, but our debt went up from 20 billion to 80 billion. So we had a crisis in 1991. But after 91, when India opened up, we got our economic freedom back. India's GDP grew from 275 billion to 2.93 trillion in 2020 March, growing at 8.5% a year in dollar terms. 8.5% a year in dollar terms from 1991 till 2020 for 29 years. Which other large country has grown like that? Only China at maybe 9.5%. Just imagine if Nehru had right policies encouraging private sector in 1950. Because remember, for much of human civilization, India and China were the largest countries in the world. India was the richest country till 1000 AD when we had the Islamic invasion. Then China took over. Then India came back, again lost during the Mughal regime, which devastated India. People should read the history right instead of making claims in this country. And we were a free market, free trade country. We never had price controls. So the license quota Raj destroyed India, destroyed entrepreneurship, created corruption, created centralization in Delhi, and we had done very well. So when I joined the workforce in 1982, India was almost a failed country. There were no jobs, even though I got 11 jobs in all outside Bangalore because of the CA rank holder. Those days, you must remember, the heroes in India were Haji Mastan and Karim Lala, smugglers. And the reason are very clear, because they were rich. You could not earn enough money. So I practiced. I joined Prakash Leasing Limited, the Prakash Road Lines Group as executive director. That's my first job. That means I was running a company. Until 94, I joined Infosys, a very different story. Then I was a consultant, became a CFO, and then
sir, if I could just interrupt you here. See, it was at this time, I think in 1993, that you were thinking about going abroad, taking a job abroad, and Infosys changed your plans. Could you just tell us about what were your that phase? A little bit more about that phase when you were with your.
Well, I was working from 86 to 93. I was not earning much money, and I was married, and I had two sons, two young kids, and I was feeling, what is the future working in this company? I was very optimistic, but getting a bit disappointed. So it was a very difficult phase in my life, in my professional career, because you're doing well, but not earning much money, because family-dominated companies don't pay you money. They give you a car, club membership. They don't give you cash. And it was a very different situation. So I was thinking maybe I should go abroad and work. But, very soon the family had a fight, and I left and I became a consultant to Microland and Infosys. And I earned 3 times what I was earning every month as a consultant rather than running that company. And then, of course, I joined Infi. Infi was not paying very well those days, but it is okay. And, Meena, I am very, very lucky. God has been kind to me. I saw my country grow from 1994 till now tremendously. I saw the rise of a great industry, the software service industry. Today, the industry is $190 billion in revenue. Out of the top 10 software service companies in the world, are the most valuable top 10, 5 are Indian. Of the top 5, 3 are Indian. Of the 2.8 million employees in the top 10, 2 million are Indians. America has 6 million software people, 1 million are Indians. Out of the 4.5 million working in Indian software service companies here, 2 million work for American companies. Out of 8 million working for American companies, 3 million are Indians. As a part of that industry, I saw the rise of a great country. When I first went abroad, people looked at me up and down as from a poor country. They abused me. But later, when Infosys grew and we are listed in the Nasdaq and things became better, they used to look at my passport and say, "Oh, you are from software, you are from Bangalore, etc." It was great. So I saw the rise of a great country, saw the rise of a great industry, saw the rise of a great company like Infosys, which set standards globally for corporate governance, investor relations, and the business model, the global delivery model, everything else. In our campus, we had 100 prime ministers and president visit us. President Putin came, Tony Blair came, and the prime minister of Japan came. They all came to see what is happening in this country. Prime Minister Vajpayee came. So we had an extraordinary time, and it's very exciting.
Could
And
I
then
ask you
I
something here?
left.
Yeah.
Huh?
Could I ask you something here? Yeah.
Please, please.
Yeah. See, in 1995, Narayana Murthy and Nandan Nilekani, they took you on board. What did they see in you, or
Well, it's
rather,
very strange.
what did you see then?
Well, Meena, it is very strange. As a young boy, I used to collect annual reports and read them like storybooks. So
Yeah.
I used to go to shareholders meetings and ask questions to management. By the time I was, I was in, 1988, 89, I had copied 3,000 annual reports globally. I read all of them. So when my friend, who's a banker, came and told me that the company called Infosys is coming, the software company, nobody knew what software was. In 92, they had a private placement. I applied for some shares. We got some shares. And one day when I was in my cabin, I saw the annual report of Infosys. Interesting. And they were having a shareholders meeting. I went to the shareholders meeting, asked Murthy questions. And there we saw the founders of Infosys, suited, booted, sitting on the table in the AGM in West End Hotel, 1993, I think it was July. And they were serving, they were put lunch on the side. Nobody gives lunch in the shareholders meeting. I stood up and asked questions. Then Murthy came and met me. Then after the Nandan met me too. I'd met them in that roadshow before the meeting, but just a cursory one. And then after that, there was the analyst meet in October in Bombay, 93. I went there and asked him question. My friend Vallabh Bansali, who was from Inan, told Murthy, don't answer his questions in public. Then after that, Nandan met me and we got close together. I met them once or twice. Then Nandan came once in February and said, why don't you join us? Why don't you come on board? And that time there was a family fight. The group was breaking up and I wanted to leave. So I left and joined, I think, in January 94. Then I had a personal tragedy. My father died in April. He was 2 months in hospital. I could not see because we were working very hard as a consultant in Infosys. I couldn't see him. I still regret that I couldn't spend enough time with him. But then after that, in September, I think September, October, Murthy came to my room and said, no, you must join full time. From tomorrow you are joining. I spoke to Nandan. He said, join. So I joined. But, we prepared the 94 annual report together. And that annual report won all awards. It is the best annual report produced by any Indian company with great level of disclosure. It had Madhuri Dixit in that report along with Shivram Karant. It was sold in the black market in Mumbai. Those were exciting days. We are growing so fast and it was exciting.
But I also,
so much of excitement.
I also heard that. See, not many people really appreciated the way your closeness with Narayana Murthy and the fact that you could joke with him, on equal terms. So sometimes you would have felt as an outsider there.
No, I'll tell you. You see, well, they are founders. 6 of them. They've grown up together since 1982. They're a very close-knit group. We are outsiders to that founders group. But, that's the reality because they've grown up together. They're all big shareholders. They all work together. So you have to accept that. See, but Murthy is a very unique person. In my opinion, after independence, there have been 3 great industrialists in this country. The first was J.R.D. Tata, 1950, 1960, because he was the old school, very gentle, very straight, and a very great person. He built big companies. Then there was Ambani, Dhirubhai Ambani. He was started with nothing and came up and built everything. All the Bombay crowd tried to go after him, destroyed him. He finished all them off. And he taught India scale. He taught India scale. And he built scale. He taught India to think big, to build global. But, he built his empire. Then in 92 came Narayana Murthy. When India opened up, built a global company, got global respect, the best practices of corporate governance standard, everything coming from the ordinary middle class, no money. He built a great company, which is more valuable than Reliance, more valuable than the Tatas, more valuable than Hindustan Lever. We broke all the records at that point of time. It was a very valuable company, very exciting. It was a middle class dream for India, stood up for values. It gave stock options to all employees, including drivers and office staff. They all become crorepati's. People wrote about us. We did many extraordinary things. We built the best campuses in the world where everybody could have great working facilities. It's an open, transparent, collegial culture that Murthy built. And we could argue with him, we could fight with him, we could discuss with him. Because with Narayana Murthy, what won the argument was the best argument, not your status. He would listen to anybody. It is an open communication. And if you had a better idea than everybody, you would win. And I always had the better idea. So I was very close to Narendra. One of the few could argue with him and talk back to him. And he encouraged it. He never suppressed anybody because it's a very unique company. It never made me feel like an employee. We were part of the team. Of course, the founders were in a different league altogether. They had their own meeting, but that's okay. But whatever it is a great culture. It's an unbelievable culture. And I mean, you will never get that culture in any other company in this country because there'll always be a boss. He'll always tell you what to do. Here, Murthy will listen to everybody and take a decision. And because he listened to everybody, everybody felt happy. And he took the decision. And we all accepted, yes, he's the right decision, but he listened to everybody. Never took a decision which is important without talking to us. And that is a meritocracy. And Murthy made sure that, he took care of everybody. Murthy is the only person in my life who asked me, Mohan, how is your family? Is everything okay? Do you need anything? Nobody asked me that question. So he's a very unique person.
Any interesting anecdotes about any memories that you have?
Lots of them, lots
Could
of
you
them.
share
In fact,
one or two?
When we went to Nasdaq, we went to the roadshow to Nasdaq. We're the first company, small company, less than $100 million going to Nasdaq. While we're in the roadshow, 2 weeks in the US, the stock price went up from, I think, 2 billion to 3.6 billion. It just went up. And, till the Wednesday, Friday was, I think, the day for the listing. Till, I think, Wednesday, we didn't have a book. There was no book, no demand. Then Murthy called me and said, Mohan, there is no demand. What should we do? We should go back, call it off and all. I said, no. We spoke to Vallabh Bansali. Vallabh told him to take it easy. Then he came back and told us what he's doing. And we had a full book, $3.6 billion. And it was subscribed. We were only raising 72 million. So, I remember that. And I also remember the Nasdaq listing where Murthy sat in front of the, with the screen at his back in an interview. And at the back, we know the price is going to come. And we know that whatever is the price date, that's going to determine whether successful or not. I mean, if it's not, we have to come back over the Atlantic and jump off the plane. We can't come back because in Bangalore, everybody was waiting. There were 5,000 people in the campus. They're all waiting. The media is waiting. The stock opened at 52. And we had price at 34. We had a full book at 37. But the first company to ask for a lower price in the book. So it's so exciting. We came to the airport. People came and gave us bouquets. It was unbelievable. First company from India. Remember, India was not a great country those days. Nobody cared a damn about India. It's a poor third world country. And here's a country, small company listing on the Nasdaq with $3.6 billion of market value, right? And we had done US GAAP. We met the regulations. We had done everything else. The biggest banks in the world came and quoted us. Of course, we went to the smaller banks, but there's so many stories. And I'll give one more story before we go further. I remember that one day after we built the Mysore campus, in Mysore, we built the world's largest corporate university. We have 11,000 rooms, all right? It can train 30,000 people a year. It produced the largest number of software engineers in the world, apart from the US and China. It was fantastic, all right? And we had built it, and I used to be in charge of everything. So one day at 8:30, my friend called me up. Colleague Ramdas Kamath called me. Murthy wants to speak to me. And Murthy was very upset. He was telling me, no, people are using more water. The Kaveri is drying up. There is no water in the world. We must do this. We must do that. We must cut down. Then I said, what do you want me to do? He said, turn on the shower. Why everybody is having showers twice a day? They're using more water. I said, look, we put in the showers because we want to get a great quality of life for everybody who's coming for training. We can't do that. No. I only use half a bucket of water every single day to bathe. I cut down my use of water because Murthy believed in leadership by example. He believes that you can't ask anybody to do anything unless you do it yourself, like Mahatma Gandhi. So he said, you must do all that. Then I told him, sir, you are like a semi-starved Indian and the surface area of your body is very small. Indians are grown up. They're much better. They eat much better. They're grown up. They're bigger. The body surface area is small. You can't go with half a bucket of water. Then I told him, okay, leave it to me. Of course, they put in some measures to control the flow of water, etc. But that man was intense. That man wanted the best standards. He wanted everything else. And it is a joy to work with him.
And then after that, in just a few years' time, you left Infosys.
No, you see, in 1999, after 2000, after Nasdaq, I went through a very deep change. I said, look, I've been the most successful CFO in the country. I got all the awards. People are respecting me. What am I going to do for the next 20 years? All right. So I was wondering what to do because I didn't want to be CEO of Infosys. I just want to run the company, and I mean, I enjoyed it. I set goals for myself to be the best in the world, and we were among the best in the world. People respect. Of course, we are very small. We still had to grow. And that time, I went to the ISKCON temple, and then we started Akshaya Patra. The different story, I'll tell you some other time. And Akshaya Patra gave me a big purpose. All right.
Yeah.
And then we grew. Then, in 2005, I told Nandan Murthy, I want to step down as CFO. I've been CFO since 1994. I want to step down because I believe if you are a leader, you have good people working under you, you should not occupy the post for too long. You must hand it over to others because
Yes.
7-10 years in the post is fine. You should not stay there. I was young. I was young. 2006, I was just about 48. All right. And so in 2005, I told him, he said, no, you got to be CFO. And it took me 1 year. Then I stepped down. Then I said, look, I want to leave the company. He said, why? What will I do? I said. He said, no, you have HR. So I became director of HR. I managed many other units. For Finacle banking unit, I was in charge, blah, blah, blah. And I became chairman of the BPO company. And it was a fantastic experience. Then by 2010, again, I told him I want to leave. Why? Because I said I want my life back. I had spent 17 years. I had not seen my two boys grow up. I had ignored my family. My wife brought up the two boys. She made a great sacrificed the career. I was not there when they're growing up. The work is intense. You leave at 7:30 in the morning, come back at 9 o'clock. You travel the weekends. It is a 12-hour, 14-hour work day, 7 days a week, and so much of travel. So I wanted my life back, and he reluctantly let me go. And of course, many things happen when we announced that I'm going. I'll tell you some other time. But whatever it is, I wanted my life back. And when media said, what are you going to do? I said, 1/3 for the family, 1/3 for, I'll be on some boards. And, 1/3 I will spend, on doing interesting things. But today, after I left in 2011, I'm working harder than ever. I set up Arin Capital with Nandan Pai. I'm the chairman of his company. I work in the area of startup policy and startups. We have floated 14 funds. We have got some 250 companies, more than $500 billion invested. We're the first investor in Baiju. We gave a 9 million check at 20 million pre. And today, I think he's be worth something like maybe 12, $13 billion. So we did a lot of interesting things, and work has been harder. Of course, I have not been able to spend that 1/3 time in the house, I mean,
The family.
only now I'm spending because of COVID. But it's been a very interesting life. I've been very fortunate. God has been extremely kind to me, and I've been able to achieve many other things I set for myself. It's been an unbelievably good life for me. Of course, it's not that you live a life of luxury. I'm a very simple person. So, it's been good. I wish many people have careers like me, which are interesting, where there is scope to grow, and you can grow very fast. You can do all the good things you want to do. I've been lucky. God has been kind.
You believe in astrology?
No, I don't believe in astrology. I don't disbelieve in astrology. But if somebody says you got to get married at this time, I'm fine. Somebody says you got to have a munji at this time, I'm fine. I don't follow that. If somebody says you got to do it, I don't object to that because, these are all traditions. These are all traditions. But, I remember PNC Menon, who's a dear friend of mine. I met him in 1994, of Shobha, founder of Shobha.
Yeah.
He told me, look, Mohan, everybody cannot be well off. God, if you're well off, God has given you destiny. You got to do great things. And I realized in my life that many things that happen, they just happen. I just met Madhu Pandit. We started Akshaya Patra.
Yeah.
10 minutes later in the temple, when I gone there, if I not met him, it wouldn't have happened. We wouldn't have met. Then I just happened to go to the shareholders meeting for Infosys 93. I didn't have to go. I could have missed it and stayed back. Then I went to Bombay. And there's so many things happen in my life which are coincidental, which really gave me a big boost. But, it need not happen. So I'm not questioning anything. I'm just saying God has been kind to me. Is there a God? I don't know. But whoever it is has been kind to me. And I've been very lucky. Whatever I did. But I've been lucky. I mean, all of us need luck on our side. If all of us believe whatever we achieve is due to us, we are born to the manner, we'll be very arrogant. And I think as you grow up in life, you've got to be more and more humble. Because you got to be more and more humble. Because if you look back upon your life, you see so many things, good things have happened. Many other people have not been fortunate. So you are one among the few. And why you? Well, it is just there.
So with the coming of Narendra Modi as India's leader, things have completely changed in India. He's sort of unified Indians in a way that not many other leaders have done. There has been changes in every sphere, in India, from economics to defense to infrastructure. You've been his supporter right from day one. If you were to be terribly frank, could you tell us what are his achievements and what are his downfalls? If there needs to be change in any area, would you be frank enough to tell us? Because if he is listening to this channel, then this could be feedback for them as well.
I respect and admire Narendra Modi for very many reasons. He's a very unique person, a great Indian, a patriot, a nationalist who loves his country. I always respect people who love their country, put their country before themselves. I don't like people who believe they're born to rule the country and the country owes it to them to let them rule. I don't believe in that. I believe in merit. I believe in hard work. His life has been very hard. He used to sell tea, like he said. His mother used to work in other houses. He grew up poor. He went away from his house. He went all over this country. He lived alone. His personal life, family life is a saga of service to the country and devotion to the country. Everything that he did was for the country and for the future for all of us. And I think when you're Chief Minister of Gujarat, I had gone to meet him and I was very impressed with him. Whenever we went, he always used to listen and then ask questions. And the man is an extraordinarily smart, extraordinarily brilliant person. He's brilliant. You have got to respect his memory is fantastic. He remembers events and people that happened 20 years back. He knows so many names. He had met so many people. He's so patient, so cool, etc. He's an unbelievable individual with enormous energy. And when he became Prime Minister, it was a great day for this country because for the first time, apart from Deve Gowda, who became Prime Minister for various reasons, we had a person on the bottom of the pyramid who grew up with nothing. Nobody supported him. It's just his merit, his own conviction, and his love for the country. And he became Prime Minister with the greatest majority that India has seen for many years. And he became Prime Minister. When he became Prime Minister, he gave a vision for this country. And that time, he replaced a very corrupt government, which was run by a small coterie sitting in Delhi, who were enjoying the benefits of that luxurious life paid for by all of us, believing they had a right to rule this country. And that's very, very wrong, because Nehru did great wrong by putting his daughter in a seat of power, and then what happened. And I think it is very wrong for this country to rule by any single family for so many generations because of a quirk of fate. But whatever it is, he became Prime Minister. He gave us a vision. There was no corruption. He eliminated corruption in Delhi. There is no corruption in government. Then he's given a vision. But he's done something which no Prime Minister has done in this country. He has made sure that every Indian will have a house, will have water in the tap, toilet in the switch, will have power in the switch, a toilet in the house, water in the tap. He'll have education. He'll have a mobile phone. He'll have a bank account. He'll get money in the bank. And he will get an insurance cover. He'll have internet. Everything that you require for the necessities of life. He's tackling the deepest challenge India has, which no Prime Minister has been able to do. And what he has done for the poor in 7 years, no Prime Minister has been able to do in any 7 years or 6 years in India's history. The record is very clear. The data is very clear. On 15th of August 2022, when we have 75 years of freedom, he can stand up and say the great majority of Indians have the necessities of life. And he's done it. They'll all live longer. He has given gas stoves to women. He has given food to people. Rations have been delivered to everybody, right? Bank accounts have been opened. About 13 lakh crores have been transferred by DBT. 13 lakh crores. He has stood up to the world, enhanced India's prestige globally. He has put Pakistan in his place. When China came to a border, he stood up and showed China that we will not bow to anybody. This is our country and you can step off. He stood up to America. He has done wonders for everybody outside the country and inside the country. So I think it's fantastic what he has done. And he has increased the respect for India and has demolished Lutyens Delhi. There's a small coterie of people who are
in fact, that was my next question.
Power, who are corrupt and who are trying to rule all of us, run a narrative. And run a narrative where 80% of the population of this country will become second-class citizens. Now he has given confidence to the Hindu community, or 80%, this is their country. They're the majority, it's their country. Everybody. We have a constitution, it's everybody's country, but they're the majority. You can't abuse the majority. You can't beat them down and make them second-class citizens. And he has not been anti-anybody. He has been pro-citizens. He has made sure everybody get the same benefits. He is not a prime minister who said the minorities have the first right on the receipt. If Manmohan Singh has said that the poor have the first right, I would have saluted him. But not any minority. I'm a minority, Meena. Under Article 29, 30 of the Constitution, I'm also a minority because I'm a linguistic minority. Okay, there are only 25 lakh Konkanis in the world. I'm a minority. But you can't make such statements, and you can't play that kind of politics. He has treated everybody equally. Everybody gets a house. Everybody gets toilets. Everybody gets water. There is no discrimination in this country. So I think what he has done for us is unbelievable. And the infrastructure that's building at a pace is unbelievable. The railways have got great infrastructure, road infrastructure, telecom infrastructure. Our airports have been opened up. Our ports have been opened up. We have become a $3 trillion economy from 1 trillion in the beginning of the 2010 or so. And then we're going to be a $5 trillion economy maybe 2026, 1 year later, and a $10 trillion economy 2031. So India is going to become a major power. But he has solved the biggest problem India had since he got independence, that of poverty, the lack of necessity of life. He has given dignity to every individual, because our constitution told us to make sure that every individual has dignity. But dignity comes when you are not, when your stomach is not empty, when you got food, and the government has made sure that you get food, you get free rations. Dignity is there when you got a house, when you got a toilet. You know what happens in rural areas when you don't have toilets, when you got water in the tap. You know what happens, how now the women of this country are responding. People in British Delhi don't understand, because they never faced deprivation. They never felt privation. They never felt the need to look for the next meal. And he has felt the need. He has been one with the people, right? And he has done all that. So I have great respect for him. The only thing I would advise him is to smile more. The only thing I would advise him is to smile more. When I met him before the elections in 2014, I told him, I think you should smile more. Your body language should be slightly more relaxed. And when you communicate, and today when you see the man with his flowing beard, everything, he looks like a rishi, Raj Rishi. He looks like a Raj Rishi, which all of us respect and all of us look forward to with reverence. And he's winning elections because people respect him. And people in Delhi and all this media don't understand. He wins election because he's done something for people. People have benefited from him. The great majority of Indians, irrespective of religion, irrespective of gender, irrespective of anything, have benefited by him. And he has protected them. So that's why they would respond to him. I mean, others should ask, what is the work they have done for this country? How they match him? And they must talk the same language of development that he talks. And I think, people should understand, at long last, after so many years, we got a nationalist, we got a patriot. Indira Gandhi was a nationalist, was a patriot. Nehru was a nationalist, a patriot. You can't point fingers against them. But Nehru was intellectually so arrogant, he never could connect with ordinary people like Mahatma Gandhi did. Mahatma Gandhi connected with ordinary people. That's why the largest number of people responded to his call to fight for freedom anytime in any country in human history, right? And Indira Gandhi was his daughter. I mean, she had great empathy for people. She was a great Indian. But she was very insecure, and there were many wrong things, but they could not execute her programs on the ground. Now, Narendra Modi has executed all these programs on the ground and seen benefit. He monitors it every month. He sits down. He knows everything. And you can't play the fool with him. His memory is so fantastic. He will not forget. And everybody knows in Delhi, the bureaucracy knows. You don't perform, you don't exist. So I think, you have to respect him. He has changed my country. He has helped my country. I'm a patriot. I'm a nationalist. I love my country. My country comes first. I want to see a great India where every Indian gets the necessities of life, where every young child can realize their dream. That is my living mission. That's my dream. And I see my dream getting done by Narendra Modi. So what else do you want? That's why I respect him.
On your part also, your greatest contribution has been the Akshaya Patra. I remember when Madhu Panditji was planning to construct the temple, he had reached out to all of us and we had all contributed in our own way. But you came out with a unique method based on what you said MGR did in Tamil Nadu for the needy, which has become such a huge success and has benefited so many children in India. Could you speak a little bit about this?
Well, it just happened by chance. I'd gone with my wife to the temple in 1997 one day because I heard somebody's building a temple. And I went there and, I saw the temple getting built and I said, I want to contribute. They had something called Sudama Seva. We are not getting much money those days. So I said, I'll contribute 5 rupees a day. So Sudama Seva, you know the story of Sudama, Krishna's friend, right? What a great story, unbelievable. We are so rich in all this nuances of human behavior. So then I forgot about it. And in 1999, late 19, one day I just felt I must go there. So I and my wife went there. I called up my friend Abhay Jain. He said, go meet Madhu Pandit. So I went there and we walked through that 108 steps when you enter the temple, walked through, saw everything, and they're going out because they could not meet him. Suddenly I heard a voice calling my name, Mohan, Mohan. I looked around, I saw Swamiji whom I had met, Anand Tirtha, Swami Anand Tirtha. They said, what are you doing here? I said, I've come here to the temple. I want to meet Madhu Pandit. My friend told me. So he said, come, I'll take you. So I met Madhu Pandit. I asked him, how much did you raise? He said, I spent about 40 crores on the temple. I said, 40 crores? In 1999, a lot of money. All the papis in Bangalore had given a lot of money. Many of them, you can see the names. Not you, Meena, but you know how they are. Some policemen, politicians, and all of them. Anyway. So I told him, look, you built this wonderful temple. What next? I said, you must do something to serve people. He said, what do you want me to do? And I said, why don't you start a school? He said, no, we can't start a school. Then I said, why don't you have midday meal? Then he said, what is the midday meal? Then I told him about the MGR story. Meena, MGR as a child had felt hunger. So when he became Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, he called all his bureaucrats and said, I want to have a midday meal for everybody. Kamraj just started it long back in Tamil Nadu, in the municipal schools. Of course, the bureaucrats, being good bureaucrats, said, we can't spend money. The World Bank will say, no, IMF will, all kind of rubbish. After 6 months, he called all of them to a feast in his house and he fed them, opened the doors of his house and asked the street urchins to come who came and ate the Juta food. Then he told all of them, if you don't sign the papers today, I'm going to transfer it to Ramnathpuram or the Boondocks, wherever. And for a bureaucrat, being transferred from his position is the worst thing that could happen, right? So I think is important for bureaucrat to be comfortable, right? Anything to the comfort, they will do whatever you want. So from that time, 20 years later, children had grown 2 inches taller, 10 pounds heavier. And the mothers in Tamil Nadu, the poor mothers, worshipped MGR because he had fed the child. And for a mother, the biggest thing in the life is the child. The child doesn't get food. What will the poor mother do? I mean, just imagine. My mother grew up at a time when there had no food in the house. And she told me the story and it was so sad. You don't have food in the house, you can't eat. What did he do? And he gave food to children, poor children, and he fed them and he took care of them. And the women built temples. And when the elections came, he was in New York, I think, in a coma. He came with a resounding victory because the women of Tamil Nadu voted for him. And Tamil Nadu, on social indicator, is a much better country today because it was deep poverty those days. So I told him, he said, okay, I served 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people who come there every day. I can do that, but I want something from you. He said, what? I want 2 vehicles, lorries. They're costing 12 lakhs each. So he said, okay, here it is. You are shocked. He said, okay, he didn't realize how much money he has to spend on cooking the food. So we started spending on 1,500 children, 5,000 children. We used to go there every week, Abhay Jain, my friend and I. And it was happening in a very good way. And I think the interesting thing is that we didn't have money. We didn't have a corpus. So the American India Foundation gave us $25,000. It's a good sum of money. And we went to 25,000 children. We wrote to them. They said, no, you must stop. You can't do more. We don't have a corpus. And suddenly 6 months later, we had requests from headmasters in Bangalore to feed 1 lakh children. And we didn't know the size of the problem. The problem was so large because so many poor children come to government schools. And then we met government. We met Murli Manoj Joshi, who gave the name Akshaya Patra. We went to met Vajpayee, Sudhindra Kulkarni. Vajpayee spoke about it in his Independence Day address. And then we met, Chandrababu Naidu. Then Narendra Modi called us in Gujarat. We set it up in Gujarat. S.M. Krishna helped us. Then Masunda Raje called us here. It became a hit. So it became a great program. And it's unbelievable what has happened. Today they feed 18 lakh children a day. They don't have a corpus. We said a corpus is capitalized in a misery. So that's why I tell everybody you want to give money. Give the money away today, whatever you want to give. And make sure to elevate misery. Don't put a corpus, get 5-6%. And let the misery remain. Misery should go today. And all of us have a duty to help our fellow brethren who don't have much. And you must give away money. I see so many rich people say, I'll give away 50% of my wealth. One of the richest Indians has given away almost all his wealth, but he's created a trust. And the trust has got a lot of money, but he spends very less. I mean, if the trust is worth 1,50,000 crores, you spend 800,000 crores, it's peanuts. You got to spend 10,000 crores a year. And you got to spend that money. Spend that money, elevate misery. So I think Akshaya Patra is an extraordinary story. Unbelievable story. So many good things have happened. And it's all because of Krishna's blessing.
Yeah,
It's Krishna who
absolutely.
commanded us to
Absolutely.
start. It's Krishna
Yeah,
who told us to
things
continue.
happened.
It's Krishna who made sure that everybody. I remember once we had no money. We ran out of money, and we had borrowed 2 crores from the bank. We had no money. We just prayed, and then a great person came and gave a check for 2 crores. Sudhamurti came out of the one and gave a check for 2 crores. It was Krishna's blessing. That's why I said we are all lucky. All successful people are lucky. It happens. God is kind to them. Whether God is there or not, let us not debate that. Let's not argue who is that God. But this happened. These great things happen.
So you've been observing what is happening in Maharashtra. Today, the Home Minister, Deshmukh, has resigned. The Waziget has exposed so much of corruption and extortion. There have been several deaths of known people like actor Sushant Singh Rajput and unknown people. People are still waiting for justice for these people. What do you think is happening in Maharashtra, and how can this change?
Well, Maharashtra is a coalition of 3 parties who are never supposed to come to power. So it is not a coalition based on ideology or some commitment. So each party, I think, wants to make sure that they use the opportunity to make as much money as possible. And some other parties are known for making money. There are so many stories told about the leaders. We have been hearing for the last 30 years about the kind of money they're making. And now they're getting exposed. You see, running a state like Maharashtra is not easy. You've got 10 crore people. It's a very big state. It's bigger than most countries in the world. Bigger than most countries in the world, 100 million people, right? Bigger than the UK, bigger than France, bigger than Germany. And you need competence, you need ability, you need some experience to run it. And I think it's very important. So what is happening in Maharashtra is a great tragedy. You need good leadership, you need focus. And then you had, you know, uh, this COVID come, and COVID and Maharashtra is the worst affected state. I feel so sorry for my friends in Mumbai. Mumbai is a great city. Mumbai is a great city. Mumbai is, it should lead India.
Yeah.
And when you see all this happening, it is a sad thing that's happening. So I think not so many good things have happened. And I think corruption is very deep, political interference very deep. They went after Arnab Goswami. They didn't have to do all that kind of thing, showing vengeance, abuse of power, etc. So it's very sad. And now, see, Meena, India has to go through a cleansing process.
Yeah.
India has become a country where a few people have captured power. They created an ecosystem of media, academics in JNU and others, everybody who fed out the fat state and kept the people poor. And many, many NGOs who kept the people poor because they are in the poverty-making business. If poverty disappears, why will they be there? We have got 30 lakh NGOs in this country, right? And many of them get funding from abroad. They get funding from FCRNRA to convert people, to abuse. They've all been doing it because they're close to center of power. It's been easy game to do so many abuses. Narendra Modi is cleaning it up. Amit Shah is cleaning it up. The politics has to get cleaned up. And I think it's very interesting what has happened in Maharashtra, because I think hopefully, the tragedy in Meena, in this country, the rule of law is very weak. You see, we are a constitutional democracy with a representative government. There has to be rule of law. And rule of law means there is justice. Where there is justice, the poorest of the poor can stand up, put their head high, and walk with pride because they're protected by the constitution. But if you have a justice system which is broken, which takes 5, 10, 15 years, you've got a policing system which is captured by the political leaders, as we've seen in Maharashtra and other states. What hope do you have? Is all the signs of a broken governance system which Narendra Modi is trying to set right. But it's a big country. It's not easy to set right. You have 29 states. Each state government requires competent leaders. And today, the middle class have become apathetic. They don't want to join politics. They should join politics. We need good people. We need a coalition of the good. And most of all of us should give money to political leaders. Unless we contribute money to political parties to fight the elections, where will they get money? I see so many rich people saying, no, it's all dirty. How can they give money? He's asking money. Now, if you don't contribute, how will the political leaders get money to contest elections? Because see, India requires politicians. We cannot survive in a society without political leaders. The politician has a very difficult job. The life of a politician, miserable. From 4:30 in the morning, people come home. They want this favor. They want that favor. They abuse you. They go away. It is not a life of joy. It's a life of power, not of joy. And then they have to fight elections. They go bend before people and ask them to vote, right? And many people ask for money. And they have to spend a lot of money. But where do they get the money? If you and I don't contribute, if rich people don't contribute, where will they get money? So they'll go to crooks. They'll go to crooked contractors. They go everywhere. Corruption will start. That's the root of corruption. At the root of all this. If good people come, all of us give money for elections, we can clean up India. But it's going to take 10, 15 years. It's not going to be easy. So India is going through a huge cleanup.
Cleansing, yeah. So the COVID has changed our lives completely. Everything from our work pattern to interacting with people over digital media, every field, whether it's tourism, hospitality, education, all have been affected badly. We've almost completely moved into another era where we depend on digital media. Do you think this digital revolution will become even stronger from now?
Of course, Meena, 200 years back, the Industrial Revolution came to Europe, and Europe took advantage and dominated the world. Till then, India, China were the richest countries in the world. You know history. Now the digital revolution has come, and India is very fortunate. The digital revolution will benefit India, will transform everybody else. And in this digital revolution, there are three great countries who will benefit. China, which has created an enormous digital system, second richest country in the world, grown very well. The United States, the home of innovation and Silicon Valley, and India.
Yeah.
India is only $3 trillion, but India will benefit because we have technology, we have software, we have brilliant entrepreneurs, we have a startup culture, money is coming in, though not enough, and we are open to the world. And we have done things like the India Stack, the Aadhaar Nandan did, all the great things. We have built public platform which are for public use. And the benefits of all this is coming. India has 50 unicorns today. Young people are creating billion-dollar enterprises. Today, Misho got some money and became a unicorn. But India has got 55,000 startups, 50 unicorns, $170 billion of value created. We got $70 billion coming in as capital from 2014 till now. And by 2025, India will have between 125 to 150 unicorns. And India will create create value of about $500 billion. So from now till 2025, there'll be maybe 25 lakh jobs being created by these young people. And by 2025, we'll have about 1 crore people in the digital economy, highly trained, highly qualified, with great companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, etc. at the back. And in the front end, all these e-commerce companies, B2B companies, all these great companies and great fund managers. It's an enormous system that has been created. We're still small compared to China and the US because the economies are much bigger, but we're getting there. And this will change India. And we have a young generation coming up which is digital first. Anybody below 18 today is the digital first generation, and they're going to dominate the economy by 2025. Many of us are old, much older. Yes, we also become digital, and it's become easy. And COVID has transformed India, forced everybody to go digital, and everybody's changed their lives. Work from home. Earlier in Infosys, work from home was for younger people. They always didn't want to come to office. They didn't want to travel 4 hours a day. They wanted to work from home. We all used to resist. No, we have to come. Now what has happened, when this arrived, everybody went for work from home. They were happy, but the older people went from home. And what did they find? Younger people in many parts of Bangalore and other places were staying in paying guest accommodation, didn't have good houses, work from home was good. Then they got bored because the office atmosphere much better, great cafeteria, great working atmosphere, chatting, going for dates, everything. They all missed that, logged in. People who are in the middle, who are maybe 35, 40 with a child and the wife working, they come home. They don't stay in a big house. They're all just building their careers, professionals. They got a child. They got to take care of a child. They got a wife there. Both are working. It's not a good thing more than 60 days. But elder people above 45 or maybe 50 suddenly found they're in bigger houses. They're everywhere. Their children are gone, empty nesters. They like it. They don't have to travel. They can do video 6 or 8 hours a day. They're comfortable. They're very happy. Now they don't want to go back to office to work. Younger people want to go back. Middle in the people want to go back. So habits have changed, and the new world is coming. And industry has become very efficient. They're digitized, they're automated, they've done many things else. So there are other challenges coming up, but I think it's a fantastic thing for India because we can grow faster, we can be more efficient.
So Rajiv Malhotra, in his latest book about AI, technology, and the revolution, he says that it will affect the way we lead our lives, saying that, see, the richer will become, rich people will become richer and poor will become poorer. And that, you see, the countries that will become the leaders will be China and India, China and USA. And in India, if they don't keep up, they may, face problems.
Well, here's the point, because we are not investing enough. See, our capitalistic class, our billionaires are not putting money into digital. You ask Narendra Murthy and you ask all the tech billionaires how much money they're putting digital. You get the answer, very little compared to what is happening in the US. They're not investing. How much is that Tata's investing in digital? Very little, right? Compared to what the US is investing, other big companies are investing. They got to invest more. So I think there's very much to it. The government is not investing enough in AI. China is investing $150 billion by 2022. That's why the US is worried. And here in India, Niti Aayog has got a $1.5 billion plan. I really don't know how much money they put, because I think government should start investing money. Only now they're talking about it, because we may lose out. But we have a big companies which are doing all this AI work, machine learning work for American companies, etc. So we have the capability, we don't have the money. So India should invest much more. But we have the platforms like India Stack, we have Aadhaar, we have the Health Stack. All of them could help us, because those are all platforms that get the enormous amount of data. And of course, when AI comes, then we need different regulations. We should not become a digital colony. My biggest fear is we may become a digital colony, because most of our unicorns will be owned by foreign capital. Out of 50 unicorns, maybe 22, 23 are headquartered outside. They're all headquartered in Singapore or some other place. The Indian subsidiary is here, like Flipkart, etc. Right? They're all headquartered outside, because it's difficult to get money in and out. RBI regulations are not very good. So there are challenges that are happening. Yes, if the AI coming, there'll be an enormous amount of data. But I think India has got 10 years before we really get into trouble, because we have to build infrastructure. We have to do so many things. So the disruption in jobs will be slower in India than in the United States. United States is in deep trouble. The rich are growing richer, because innovation is the hands of a few. And there's disproportionate value for innovation in the United States. In India too, the disproportionate value still not come, is on the way. In China, the disproportionate value is there, but the Chinese government is clamping down, and they will change everything. They don't like others to come up, right? But India has got a unique opportunity, but the people of India should come up. The businessmen of India should come up. They should invest to make sure a thing. So I think Rajiv book is a good warning for everybody. They must all read the book and understand that, if you don't do that, you'll all become history. So the digital revolution could impact anywhere else. And what the world requires is a universal declaration of digital rights. So that every citizen on the planet will get their rights protected. Otherwise, you have the digital monopolies like a Google, like a Facebook, like an Apple. They will control your mind. All of us have become pieces of data. And the data is assembled on the platform. They know what we think, what we eat, what we do, everything they know. And they can manipulate. When you go to Google and search, Google sends you what it wants you to see, not what you want to see. Right? And it's aggregating. So we're all getting control. Our mind is getting control. Our media is getting control. Right? I mean, the old leftists try to control the media, but somebody else is controlling. So I think you've seen that great hack about Cambridge Analytica and the elections, what they try to do using Facebook data, right? Because they can control your mind, send you messages sublimely. So Rajiv Malhotra is talking about all this. So it's a warning for India. We had a lot of things to do.
So what about the new Indian apps that we have, like Koo and Tutor? See, they're trying to combat Twitter, but in many ways they are still not as savvy as Twitter. So people are feeling a lot of the drawbacks. What do you say about these apps?
Meena, you got a very mature app after spending billions of dollars, 15 years in Twitter.
Yeah.
Koo is a young company, just started 6 months back. They're only raising money now, started by a great entrepreneur, Aprema. You got to give him time. If all of you don't go join Koo and start cooing and create a platform and say, oh, I want a Twitter in 6 months, how is it going to work? Unless you go to Koo, you start cooing, you build a network, and you'll do that, because tomorrow Twitter could shut you off. Twitter is a foreign company with a leftist ideology. They could shut you off. There is no room to appeal. They will control your mind. They shut off President Trump. They shut off the most powerful man in the world. They shut him off. They have ideology against you. They're all leftists, extreme leftists.
Yeah.
They will shut you off, and they want to push their ideology. So Koo is Indian, will abide by the constitution, will be subject to laws. All of you should go and support. And Koo in next 2 years will be fantastic.
Yeah.
They'll be fantastic, and Koo will do all the things that you want. I'm on Koo. I Koo every single day, and every day is improving. And they're going to raise money. They're going to invest. They're going to make it happen. I mean, you can't work. You can't compare a 6-month-old baby with a giant which has been there for long. So you got to be very careful like that. So we need to support our own companies.
Yeah.
Look,
have you tried
China
Tutor,
has
sir?
created a great firewall. China has created a firewall supported Baidu, Tencent, and Alibaba, and they're all great companies, right? And China has created its own network, right? What has India done? Open up the market. Google wants us. Facebook wants us. Amazon wants us. Amazon owned India, if not for the Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh Ambani has saved India in that area, in e-commerce, right? So we need to invest in Indian companies, support Indian companies, because tomorrow, is the danger. We don't want to be a digital colony. So I think all of us should support and all of us should make sure that we do the right things.
Have you tried tutor, sir?
What is that?
Have you tried tutor?
Tutor.
Tutor,
No, I have
tutor.
not tried tutor.
Yeah,
I have not
that's
tried
another
tutor.
another young man, Nandan, the CEO, who's also trying his best. I think we should also support him as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question that I had is, with more people becoming jobless as a result of COVID, there has been a movement towards more startups and people becoming more experimentative, exploring areas like food, agriculture, which they had no idea of before. How do you see this trend? I mean, as your company also funds startups, what is your advice to youngsters who completely change their profession and move to such areas?
No, I would advise all youngsters to innovate, to think of new ideas, connect consumers and producers, and disrupt the supply chain, because it's all about supply chain. And I think it's very important for people to understand that supply chain inefficiencies. For example, Big Basket can go to farmers, get them a better price, and give them money immediately, as against
Yeah.
going to a mandi and everybody, middlemen, eating away too much of money. Now,
Yeah.
because of the farm reforms, you've seen what the rich farmers of Punjab are trying to do along with the middlemen, right? They're all fighting back because they don't want change. They don't want the farmer to make money, right? The poor farmers to make money. So I think technology will democratize fully and give power to the consumer in a very big way. Of course, the danger is there that you could be taken over. So I think young people should look at ideas, work on technology, be frugal. Don't expect that you can raise so much of capital all the time. For every success, there are 100 failures. Keep on doing it. In 10 years, 8 years, 9 years, you'll do well. So I would suggest go through it. I think it's a great experience. At the end of it, if you succeed, fantastic, you'll do very well. If you don't succeed, that experience will be invaluable for you.
Yeah. So you're a very busy man. How do you spend your free time, if you have any? How do you relax? What are your interests?
Well, my wife and I stay alone. Both our boys have left us. One is married, other will get married soon. So, I reply to my email, and if I got time, I read. I go for long walks in the morning and evening, 5 days a week. And, well, we try to spend time with the children. It's a very ordinary life. And relaxing is only by reading. You can't we're not big in socializing anybody else. We both are a little bit of introverts. We do meet people and others, but it's a nice life. Reading.
You're truly a rare individual who speaks his mind rather openly, and you dream big while having an eye for the smallest details. What do you think young Indians how should they prepare themselves for in the coming future? Because you've already tasted success. What is your advice to youngsters?
I think, look, you have to be perseverant. You have to keep going at it. You have to push your head against the wall till the wall breaks or you fall down. Even if you fall down, you are 6 feet ahead. You need perseverance. Success is not going to come overnight. It's very, very hard work. You must work extremely hard. You must keep at it. You must change when the world changes. You must be flexible, and you must build a network, and it takes time. So keep at it and you will succeed. And nothing like hard work, because it takes time. See, you benefit when you have a network.
Yeah.
And then you have to invest in yourself. You have to improve your skills. You have to work, and you have to make sure that you become more and more skilled. Warren Buffett answered this question when somebody asked him, what are the biggest investment you can make in your life? He said, invest in yourself. Because the biggest investment you can make in life is enhancing your skills, your knowledge. So all of us should read, all of us should understand, all of us should know what to do. And that will definitely pay off. And be frugal. Don't spend more money than you earn. Yes, you can always take a loan for a house, etc. But don't live on debt. Yes, you can have a little bit of debt so long as you got income. Have a little bit of money kept aside for the bad day. And work very hard and use every opportunity in your office or wherever you work to learn.
Yeah.
I was in director HR, right? And I hired 200,000 people and trained 250,000 people in 5 years those days. And young people are so eager, they want double the salary every 6 months. It's not going to work. It takes time. It takes time. You have to compete, you have to learn. And we should train them. And many say, no, my salary is less, I'm going. And people who stay back and people who work very hard and people who perform will always be rewarded. And you must remember, if you're a good performer, you work very hard, nobody can put you down. People may ignore you 1 year, 2 years, but third year they will know that you are there. So you will always succeed. So you need to keep have a little bit of patience. I know patience is alien to young people, and that is true. It is alien to us too. We wanted things to happen, but at the end of it, hard work, smart work, self-learning, increasing your skills, these are the ways to succeed.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a very interesting session, and we hope you'll join us another time as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, viewers.
Good
Thank
night.
you very much. Good
Good
talking
night.
to all of you.
Thank you.
Good night.